Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day, and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Schuster and I are back, and we want to welcome you to Fearing the Reaper. We are ranking the albums of Blue Oyster Cult. This has been, thank you for the visual there, Bill. This has been on the books since Jesus was a boy.
Pretty
Uh,
much.
Pretty much about the last 2.5 years. Uh, it's been a while. So, Bill and I sat down the last time we were together and we said, damn it, we're going to do this. So, we have come together to rank the albums, studio albums of Blue Oyster Cult. They have 16 albums to date. One album, which is of material that was re-recorded called Ghost Stories that came out in 2024, I believe. Yeah, 2024, which contains music that was recorded between 1978 and 1983. We're not going to include that. We are including albums that are of original material. So, just a little bit about, I have my information on Blue Oyster Cult here as I check my notes. Blue Oyster Cult forming in Long Island, New York, in the hamlet of Stony Brook. They went under various names prior to settling on the name of Blue Oyster Cult. Those names are Soft White Underbelly and the Santos Sisters, which is quite unique. Okay, in terms of in terms of a name for a band, they were brought together by a producer and impresario Svengali Sandy Perlman, and they've had an interesting career. In the band, you have Donald Buck Dharma Rozier on lead guitar and vocals, Eric Bloom on lead vocals, stun guitar on various albums, keyboards and synthesizer, Alan Lanier, keyboards and rhythm guitar, Joe Bouchard on bass, vocals, and keyboards, and Albert Bouchard, sorry, on drums, percussion, vocals, and miscellaneous instruments. What's unique about this band is every single member of the band have sung vocals on at least one or two tracks per album. They've had a very interesting career, and we are going to bring to you our rankings. Again, we have 15 albums to talk about, but to make it more easier for us to bring to you, and for more easier for you to sonically digest in terms of the albums we're talking about, we're going to split this up into two parts. So, in part one, we're going to bring you albums 15 through 9. And in part two, you guessed it, we're going to bring you albums 8 through 1. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn the virtual mic over to Bill, and he's going to take over and he's going to talk about this band. Just a quick question, and then I will shut up. When did you first know of the band, and when did you first latch on to the band as a fan?
The early 80s, I heard the obvious Reaper and Burning for You on the radio like everyone else did, but it wasn't until the mid 80s when I started really getting into them, 84, 85. And after that, there was no turning back. They became one of my top five elite bands of all time. I've loved them ever since. I'd say I do want to throw a quick bone to a couple of things. There's the Ghost Stories album that
Yeah,
Albert. I'm thinking Blue Oyster Cult members in my head. I'm
yeah.
thinking Albert Bouchard. I was about to call you Albert Bouchard. No, Albert didn't mention this album. Armando did. All right. Okay. And
I've
this
been
was
called
another we
worse.
did not rank. Bad Channels, the soundtrack to a movie, had a couple new Blue Oyster Cult songs, Demon's Kiss and The Horsemen Arrive, and some Buck Dharma keyboard noodling, basically. But it wasn't really a full Blue Oyster Cult album. It had a bunch of other bands. And in this one, I just felt uh, it's practically a Blue Oyster Cult album. It's the Stock Forest Group, St. Cecilia Recordings. This was Eric Bloom, Albert Bouchard, Alan Lanier, and Donald Roser, um, minus Joe Bouchard. prior to Joe joining. Andrew Winters, excuse me, was on bass,
Hmm.
but this was prior to the first album, prior to the name change to Blue Oyster Cult. And if you like the first album by this band and you're intrigued by the thought of what would have happened if they went in a Grateful Dead direction instead of a Black Sabbath direction,
Okay.
this album answers that question, and I highly recommend it. If we had ranked this, I would put it probably around number 5 or 6. I love it that much.
Really? Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Okay.
but it
Is
is
that
different.
okay? Is that released on Elektra?
This was a Rhino Records. It was like a limited set of 5,000 that
Oh,
came out
okay.
uh,
Okay.
way
Okay.
back 2001.
Okay. The reason why I ask is 'cause there's another. I think that's that compilation. It's listed as also the Elektra recordings or something released to Rhino and
Yes, yeah, that's the subtitle here, Saint Cecilia, the Electra recordings.
yeah. Okay. So
No.
I know I read that somewhere. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw a bone to those. To those are ones we are not discussing. Um, I'll get to business here. I could go on forever about
No,
little
no, no.
bits and
You're
pieces of
doing
things.
fine. You're doing fine.
But all right, this one I did not initially have ranked, though I'd have owned it since it came out. But I found out Armando ranked it, and we were chatting recently, and I said, "All right, I'll put it on my list." It's kind of an odd one. This came out in 1994 on Caroline Records. Cult classic with great cover by huge BOC fan Melanie Murphy. Uh,
Hmm.
the reason this is down so low is because it's not new material. This is basically the band trying to regain control of a lot of their songs back when Sony was being difficult, I guess. And so they re recorded a lot of their classics with the current version of the band, which at that time was Eric, Donald, and Alan, but John Rogers on bass and Chuck Burgi on drums. That was also the version of the band that did the Bad Channel soundtrack I showed earlier.
Hmm.
Um, at the time this came out, I thought it was really cool, and I played it to death because, well, my original BOC collection was a mishmash of assorted cassettes and records, and I was just getting into CDs more heavily then. So this was one of my first Blue Oyster Cult CDs. I don't know if you can see the gold there,
Hmm.
the Reaper
Hmm.
hiding in the corn or the wheat or whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun album. It has these unnecessary "Don't Fear the Reaper" and Godzilla TV mixes at the end where they take the vocals off for no apparent reason. Uh, but yeah, it's fun. It's if you're a BOC collector, it's a nice curio to have, but it's not something I would really say anyone needs to overpay for or anything like that. If
Yeah.
you have the original versions, I don't think there are any on here that actually truly outperform the originals. So yeah, it's definitely my number 15 here. Cult classic.
Okay. All right. Um, oh, I'm gonna get blasted for this one.
Oh,
My 15 is self-titled. Uh, really, that look on Bill's face is like, you bastard. Okay.
oh no,
Released
it's
in
a vast.
72. Hmm?
Sorry, it's a vast catalog of with a wide variety. So I get it. Not everything is going to be for everybody.
Yeah, I get it. I know it's true. It's true. For me, I mean, uh, it, again, self-titled, released in 1972. After saying they deal with Columbia Records. Uh, it's the sound on this album. It's just really poor. Uh, It's a muddy recording. Yeah, saying nothing on this album for me is memorable in terms of the songs. You know, Transmoniacon MC, leads off the album. I'm on the land, but I ain't no sheep. It's like, okay, fine. Um, but again, it's the sound of the album. It's really muddy. I think it's the second last track on the album. The vocals just peter out in the mix. And then they come back in. It's like it's recorded really badly, I find, which I'm surprised that Columbia let this go out in its
Yeah.
original form. It's just a really poorly recorded album. Rock all the way through, really heavy guitars from from Roger and from Bloom. Sorry, yeah. But it's just really poorly recorded, and there's nothing on here that is really memorable to me. And this was the start of their black and white album trilogy in terms of the cover art, starting with this and then ending with Secret Treaties in '74. But it's not a really good album, so that's my number 15. Start the hate right now in terms of that, but that's my number 15.
All right, that one's a divisive album among Steven fans. Well, a number of their albums are really. This is kind of similar to Rush in that you will find hardcore Blue Oyster Cult fans. Some of them may love certain eras but hate others. I mean, I pretty much dig it all, but I I get it. Again, not everything is for everybody. So
Yeah, and the song I'm talking about that with the vocals that sort of fade out while they're singing, they're not even done the vocal, like the lyric line. They just fade out is Workshop at the Telescope. It's I don't understand it, but that's me anyways. Yeah, I mean, okay, start the hate right now. Start the hate messages. I'm sorry, guys. That's my number 15. Okay, your number 14?
all right, I might take scrap from some people for this one too. So uh, a lot of people had this as their top album of 2020. You can see where I'm going here. It's the big reunion album after 19 long years in the Blue Oyster Cult wilderness. It is
Mm.
The Symbol Remains.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people love this album. I don't. I
Okay.
just don't. I want to. After 19 years as a big Blue Oyster Cult fan, this was such a crushing disappointment for me. I expected better, and I don't want to hate on the current version of the band. I mean, they got Danny Miranda on here on bass, who was there for the previous albums, Heaven Forbid and Curse of the Hidden Mirror.
Yeah.
And I dig Danny; he's cool. Jules Rodino's been on drums forever, along with Richie Castellano. This is the first official album for both those guys, first
Yeah.
studio album with the band, and they're both great. And Richie especially was instrumental in this. He's been a huge part of the band for like the last couple decades. He's been involved. I mean, he gets up there and trades leads with Donald, and
Yeah.
he does just as well. Sometimes maybe better. Richie is an outstanding musician, a music lover, and he's helped keep this band alive over the last couple of decades. So I
Yeah.
don't want to hate on Richie at all. In
Yeah.
fact, some of my favorite stuff on here are Richie's songs,
Yeah.
like Tainted Blood. I really like that. I like The Return of Saint Cecilia, which is a bizarre songwriting combination because it's, Richie, this guy from the modern times, he's taking an old Richard Meltzer lyric from the days of yore and
Hmm.
repurposing it for a new Blue Oyster Cult album. But the
Hmm.
thing is, it's those Richie songs, his voice just doesn't sound like Blue Oyster Cult to me.
Yeah.
I like his voice. I like his songs. I like the stuff he's did with John Anderson and the Band Geeks and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say
no
that.
disrespect to Richie at all. He even wrote the Alchemist here specifically for Eric Bloom to sound like what a Blue Oyster Cult song is apparently supposed to be. It's almost like color by
Yeah.
number Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
It's good for what it is, but it just feels like they were trying too hard. And it was pointed out to me by somebody who's even a bigger hardcore Blue Oyster Cult fan than me that Donald Roser in particular has a lot of great songs, but he's not prolific. He
Hmm.
doesn't just sit down and write and come up with stuff. The songs come to him. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, what songs came to him over the 2 decades since their prior album, I think for me were not great. I thought Box in My Head, one of the John Shirley lyrics here, it was their primary lyricist in the 90s and up to 2001. That was one of the first two songs released, and it doesn't work for me. It's supposed to be this catchy pop song, but the hooks are not there for me. That was me. That was the first song, along with Box in My Head, that was released prior to the album as a video. And I will say it put a big smile on my face to watch that video and see Albert Bichard back with the band, looking goofy in that video, playing, yeah, and singing along background.
Mhm.
I'm glad those guys have reconciled enough that they can play on each other's stuff a little bit and
Yeah,
still seem to be friendly after all these years, despite earlier bad blood. Uh, so yeah, I hate to crap on probably the last album they're ever going to do, not counting Ghost Stories, which I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
But there it is. That's my number 14. Symbol Remains.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
There's a lot of wordiness for an album I don't like much.
I know now. You're fine. You're fine. You're doing better than I am today. Um, Danny Miranda on bass. He also played with Queen in 2005 when they were with
Yeah,
Paul Rogers when they did the Return of the Champions
yeah,
thing. Yeah, he played with them, toured with them. So it's a good bass player. Good bass
yeah. I
player.
like Danny.
And background vocals and stuff. My number 14, I'm gonna do a bit of a switch out here. Club Ninja. Uh Too modern sounding. Do you know what I mean? There are certain bands that you don't expect to hear Simmons drums being used. Do you know what I mean? When you hear them play, or the Lin One drum program, drum machine, the Lin One drum machine that Prince used throughout the 80s, wonderfully so. But you don't expect to hear that on a Blue Oyster Cult album. And songs like White Flags, sorry, and Dancing in the Ruins, uh, Make Rock Not War, Go Home. I'm sorry, it's not for me. I'm sorry, it's too. Really, again, released in 1985. This is too 1985 for me. It's too much of they were. I don't know what Sandy Pearlman was thinking in terms of getting this together, but yeah, this did not sit well with Columbia Records. They were basically going on fumes at this point with this album, and yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. That's my number 14, Club Ninja. Sorry.
That one has long been very
Poo-poo.
contentious among the fans. Many people rank it last. We'll
It's
see where I rank it, but
okay.
obviously not last.
So it's been poo-pooed by a lot of fans, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right. My number 13. Speaking of Danny Miranda, he's on this album as well. Curse of the Hidden Mirror from 2001. Um, I like this a lot better than the Symbol Remains, though. So from this point on, there's a lot for me to love here. Um, the problem with this album is it is an album that consists of, for me, extreme highs and then some just okay songs. I did really like this version of the band, this from Heaven Forbid in 98 until this time in 2001, and then on to A Long Day's Night, the video and live album that they did after. With this version of the band was pretty consistent for a short time, and it seemed like they might keep putting out new material. Obviously, that did not happen, which was a huge disappointment. So this stands as the final monument to that version of the band, the last that Alan Lanier, founding member, would even play on. Um, but this does have some great songs on it. I really dig Out of the Darkness, a rare, vulnerable Eric Bloom ballad sounding song. Eye of the Hurricane is a kick ass rocker. The Old Gods Return, the same. That's like kind of like what the Alchemist on the Symbol Remains wanted to be, but couldn't quite get there, as far as I'm concerned. Eric absolutely tears it up, and that's just a perfect John Shirley lyric there that just kind of fits into the old like H.P. Lovecraft type stuff, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. Um, Pocket, that to me is what Box in the Head or Box in My Head wanted to be.
Yeah.
That is a great Buck Dharma, Donald Roser pop song with a strong hook.
Hmm.
Two of the songs on here I was already familiar with um, from this, the Buck Dharma Archives, which had come out a year prior, which was a bunch of Donald Roser's old demos. And he would also recycle a couple more later for the Symbol Remains to tell you how short he was on ideas after all those years.
Okay.
But these two are actually pretty good. I didn't care for the two he recycled later, but the two he recycled here are Stone of Love and Here Comes That Feeling. And they're both good songs. I like them quite a bit. But unfortunately, beyond that, I mean, Showtime is a prison revenge song. Well, we already had one of those called Power Underneath Despair on the previous album, also sung by Eric. So we're kind of, did we really need another of the same type song so soon?
Hmm.
And yeah, so I don't think any of the other songs are bad. They're just not enough to help those great songs carry the album higher in the ranking. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do like the callback. Curse of the Hidden Mirror, of course, is a callback to the Stalk Forest Group era, and one of the songs on that collection. And I love the cover art. That is a great Blue Oyster Cult album cover. I will give it that. Very spooky and mysterious. And I forgot I was going to go through and try to find the Chronos symbol. You know, the Blue Oyster Cult symbol with the
Yeah.
that's on
Mm.
every album. Here, I don't know if you can see it. It's on the mirror that the guy is holding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some are easier to find than others. The Symbol Remains, it was pretty obvious. I mean, the damn thing
Yes.
came down, crushing everything in sight there.
Exactly.
Um,
And Pockets was a single for that album, and it didn't.
yeah, didn't do anything. But
Pocket, yeah, it didn't do as well. It
if
didn't
there
do.
was any justice in the world of rock radio, that song should have been a mega modern rock radio hit. But
Yeah.
I'm a fan, so of course I'm going to say that.
No, of course, of course. That's good. That's good. All right, start the daggers now. My number 13 is Tyranny and Mutation.
Oh, oh,
I'm gonna say this. When I did my ranking, I'm going on. I went on albums that I remember and gravitated towards. Um, and these albums are newer to me, like Tyranny and Mutation, Club Ninja. Oh God, they're and the debut. They're newer to me, so I need to sit with them a while, right? But songs like OD'd on Life Itself, Hot Rails to Hell. I mean, good album, great guitar work. It's just, they're still, I mean, they were still sort of not finding their sound, but perfecting what they were doing. Um, and, Teen Archer is another good one. Wings Wetted Down is another good track. But again, when you do these lists, they got to go in some kind of order, right? So, I mean, and that's why this is number 13. So that's my number 13, Tyranny and Mutation from 73.
I totally get it being newer to some of the material because frankly, I was not a huge fan of the first two albums initially. Those took me some time, especially the debut. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank God you get it. Otherwise, I'm going to be getting hate messages going, are you
Oh yeah, if
fucking
there are
crazy?
hardcore Blue Oyster Cult fans watching, they might be going,
Yeah, it's
but
like,
that's true with any of these shows.
yeah, I know.
Somebody's always going to be like, "Oh no, you're way off on that."
Well, I've been called a lot worse. I've been told a lot worse, believe me. Okay. Uh, your
All
next one,
right,
number
yeah,
12.
one. My number 12 is this. Uh, I've noticed that some of these albums toward the lower end, the albums may rank low, but they have some of my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs on it. So
Okay.
there's a difference between song rankings and album rankings for sure. There's a reason why we do separate shows for these things.
Yeah.
Uh, this one has a guaranteed one of my top 10 Blue Oyster Cult songs and at least one other that is very close. So, well, it's in the background right behind me there. You can see the lightning striking with my vinyl copy. But here's my CD copy that I first got to replace my original record, The Nice Price. The collector's choice CDs. I had a few of these. It was like the first time I was able to get Blue Oyster Cult on CD. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, the poor shrunken cover there. It's the Revolution by Night. Obviously, I didn't say the name yet, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this was 1983. It was the first album after they kicked Albert Bouchard out of the band. Album number 9. It shows Albert
Can
always
I ask,
was a do what?
I was gonna ask you a question. Do you remember why they kicked him out of the band?
There's a lot of conflicting stories, but he was like showing up late and him and substances and women and all kinds of
Okay.
it was just supposedly erratic behavior in general.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Yep.
Um, yeah, he was creatively an absolutely huge and necessary part of the band's identity. If you look at the songwriting credits on those first 8 albums with the original band, he is all over them. And he had a very unique drumming style. He still does, which frankly, Rick Downey, he was one of their road crew who was pressed into service as their drummer with kind of without warning here when they gave Albert the boot. Nothing against Rick, but he doesn't have Albert's jazzy feel on the drums that
Okay.
helped give those early albums their sound.
Mm-hmm.
And because, well, Albert is a jazz fan. I mean, uh, and it shows to me in his playing. There's a certain subtlety to it.
Yeah.
It's not just plodding heavy. This is not a metal band, even though they're often thrown in that category. They've never been a metal band, hard
Yeah.
rock at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They are listed as heavy metal. Yeah.
so Albert's not a heavy metal drummer, and he shouldn't be considered as such or judged as such. But yeah, anyway, back to this album without Albert. Uh, the 2 songs I'd referenced, "Take Me Away" is a top 10 Blue Oyster Cult song for me. That's 2 of the ones
That's
that got video and radio action.
that's a good song. Yeah.
And it's a co-write between Eric Bloom and Aldo Nova, who was famous for the song "Fantasy," of course. Um, and frankly, this is as much an Aldo Nova song as it is a Blue Oyster Cult song. He even plays guitar on here.
Yeah.
So it's like, where does Donald end and on guitar and Aldo begin? I mean, what? It's a great lyric. I always loved this idea of, Eric had some alien songs throughout, songs about aliens coming to get us and taking us out to the stars. Basically, it was a cool
Hmm.
concept. The song kicks ass. It's a rocker.
Yeah.
Shooting Shark is the other song. It was the 4th Blue Oyster Cult song and last to make the U.S. Top 100. Yeah, they had 4 songs throughout the career make the U.S. Top 100. Reaper, Burn 'Em For You, plus In Thee off of Mirrors. It peaked at like 74. This, I think, was 80 something. Sad and pathetic, but they were kind of like Led Zeppelin. They were not really a singles band.
They were a touring band. They made, their money with the tours
Yeah,
and their stage show. I mean, just
and
a
their
little
album.
and the
Yeah,
albums. Yeah. I remember reading on that their their light show, they had a laser light show that they used, and the lasers were so potent, so strong that they could put the name of the band on clouds above the stadium, and that the US government had them under surveillance because of their light show that they had at the time. When they were at their peak, we're talking like 81, I was like, this is odd. This is like, okay. But yeah, no, I hear what you're
There's
saying.
the there was a B movie that came out years ago called The Stoned Age that featured Donald and Eric in a cameo, and they had a car that was all gussied up like Blue Oyster Cult. They had songs in the soundtrack. They were a key subsection of the movie
Yeah.
essentially, and
Hmm.
those lasers were referenced. Somebody got hit and blinded. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good cheesy fun for if you're looking to spend a couple hours just fooling around with a
Just
goofy
yeah.
teen Blue Oyster Cult themed movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I get that
Um,
100%.
but back to Revolution by Night again.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
getting
Sorry.
sidetracked on this one.
Sorry.
It's not
That's my
just
fault.
you.
That's my
Uh,
fault.
yeah, again, Albert was missing big time in the credits. They had Eyes on Fire, which was totally written without Blue Oyster Cult. It was written by Greg Winter. Uh, there were a number of Donald co-writes on this. There were a couple other decent songs on it. I mean, nothing terrible. Some people might argue Let Go is possibly the worst Blue Oyster Cult song ever. It was written by Eric Donald and Ian Hunter. Had the cringy chorus, B-O-C, you got the power, we got the key. Yeah, they wanted to like do this big audience chant, and oh my God, that's right there with the whole Black Sabbath Stonehenge and all that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's not one of their highlights. I mean, I enjoy it while it's playing, but it's goofy as hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, despite some good highlights, and by the way, God, Shooting Shark, the bass was not even played by Joe Bouchard. It was played by my God, now I can't even think of his name. He's the judge on American Idol. He played on Journey's
Randy
radio.
Jackson.
Yes, thank you. Randy's name was slipping my head. Yeah, he played the bass on Shooting Shark, oddly. So there you go. Even though Joe was still in the band,
Yeah.
he was partially replaced as well as his brother. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this album's an oddity in the catalog.
Oh, true enough. True enough. I do like Take Me Away. I do like the track. Well, heavy rock with pop sensibility, you know, on that track. My number 12 is, again, Start to Hate, Secret Treaty, 74.
Oh,
Uh,
you are going to get it for that one.
I know. Featuring the single Astronomy, which I do like. And this would end the Black and White Trilogy album cover, uh, series of albums. Good album, just really good, you know, really good straightforward rock, really good guitar playing, good licks, good, good harmony guitar that comes in. Songs like Dominance and Submission, have no idea what that's all about. And Me 262, yes, he takes a sip of coffee, you bastard. Uh, and Harvester of Eyes, Blue Oyster Cult always had these in the catalog. The uh, song titles was like ominous, subject matter like Harvester of Eyes, Don't Fear the Reaper, stuff like that. It's like, they flirted with death a lot in their lyrics. You know what I mean? People took to it, and to me they were always a people's band, right? They may not have had the major chart success, but they always drew the concert crowd
Still
to
do.
their shows, right? Always constant. Um, Other songs of note, Flaming Telepaths, which is really good as well. A good album. Again, I need to sit with it more. And if we did this ranking 6 months from now, who knows? It could be different, right? But that's my number 12.
Yeah,
Secret
that's
Treaties.
another one. Again, I get it. That black and white period gives a lot of people difficulty. Even that album, uh, while I pretty much immediately liked a couple of the songs on it, there were a number of others that took me a long time to really get into. We'll see where it
Hmm.
ranks as we go here, but I will say that yeah, you might get some comment for that because that is typically considered their best by the hardcore Blue Oyster Cult fans.
Yeah, I
So
know one person who will remain nameless. I think loves this album, but they shall remain nameless because I hate them. We'll go on from there. You're number 11.
right. Number 11. All right. This was a beautiful surprise when I found it in a record store. It's not a record, actually, it's a CD. It's Heaven Forbid. Uh, Other than the, cult classic thing there and the bad channels and stuff, it had been since Imaginos 10 years prior, you know, when we last had an album of new material. This was 1998 when this came out.
Yeah,
Uh, the cover, some people are not fans of the cover. I think it's fine. It's a kind of goofy, creepy, cheesy stuff, which fits with some of their music. The alternate choice for the cover, which I believe was used in some territories, is this inner fold here, which is quite a
yeah,
bit different.
yeah,
Uh, the band at this time, it was, of course, Donald, Eric, and still Alan at that time. But they also were working on that whole lineup I was talking about earlier with Danny Miranda on bass. But the drums were kind of Bobby Rondinelli hadn't officially joined when a lot of these were
yeah,
originally recorded, but
yeah,
they did make sure to have at least one song with him on it. So he is officially on this album. But Chuck Berge, again, was still primarily the drummer on this album. And John Rogers did bass on Still Burning, which he co wrote with Donald. Um,
yeah. Still Burning is seen as a sequel to Burning for You. It's like, I don't get it. But
yeah, which is odd because it's really not. I mean, it's a cool song, but
yeah,
they're totally unrelated. I think just the fact that the word burning is in there, I think,
both.
got
Yeah,
in
yeah,
people's heads. But uh, this kind of blew my mind when it first came out. Again, I just was going through the racks and that's a new Blue Oyster Cult album. I do not recognize these. I'd seen them in concert 3 or 4 years prior to this, and Eric had talked about their new album coming out. And I'd given up on it. I thought he was full of crap by this point.
yeah,
But no, it finally came out. They had to jump through hoops to get it done, but they made it happen. This song is heavy on Donald Roser songs here.
hmm,
His writing credit is all over this. His vocals are also all over this. I mean, Eric still has his share of lead vocals, but frankly, this was Donald Roser as the driving force at
yeah,
this point in time,
yeah.
creatively.
When I see that cover, I think of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, you could see that.
That kind of vibe that they're going for there. You know, not that he's going to break into music of the night, but you know, no, I get what you're saying. It's a good album. It's a good album.
Um, the song that actually got some small amount of radio play was Harvest Moon. That was one of those rare, Donald Roser solo writing credits, just like
Yeah,
Don't Fear the Reaper, just like Godzilla. Uh,
could have
but
been on a
unfortunately,
solo
again,
album.
what's that?
Could have been on a solo album. Yeah. Sorry.
It didn't go far.
Yeah.
But it's a full on Blue Oyster Cult classic, though. That's harks back to the old days lyrically and musically. It's catchy as hell, but that's the second song down. The opener, "See You in Black," is John Shirley, Eric Bloom, Donald Roser co-write, and it's heavy. This is them trying to say, you know what, you want us to be a metal band? Well, here, let's kick your ass right off the bat.
Hmm.
And of course, it's this odd fantasy about Eric, you know wanting this woman's abusive husband to be dead and how they'd run off together after he's been killed. And it's
Hmm.
a pretty cool, heavy, intense song. I dig it a lot. It was unexpected as the opening track on this album. It was not at all what I thought was going to come out of my speakers. um Damage, the song on here, gave me my internet moniker for many years. I used to be known as Howler Monkey, though Donald signed this picture to Howler Monk because there weren't enough credits or enough spaces when I was filling out a form. But damaged has yeah. But I'm a howler monkey, Moreau's half and half man, and so I was howler monkey for many years. So thanks
Okay.
to damaged, that's where I got my long term internet name. So yeah, this it's a strange album. In a lot of ways, it doesn't sound at all like their classics. In other ways, it sounds very much like them.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of cool songs on it. I like Real World a lot. I like Live for Me a lot. Uh, and even though I, shit talk Donald sometimes about his lack of production or whatever, he brought the goods here. All more power to him. He kept them going on this thing, and yeah, it's a really good album. I still like it quite a bit to this day.
Hmm. Yeah, good. That's a good choice. My number 11, ladies and gentlemen, is Imaginos. From 1988. This album screwed up a lot of people in terms of, I'm not even going to try and tell you what it's all about because I don't even think the band knows what it's all about. This was an idea that was started by Albert Bouchard, and the band took the idea and ran with it. And then he would come out with a three-album trilogy, starting with Reimaginos, and continue that. And just thank you. Thank you very much. There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm a
And
fan.
yeah. Um, yeah, there is a video on YouTube over 2 hours talking about the history and the different turns that the concept of Imaginos took. You can find it on YouTube. I think at this point, Columbia Records just gave up on the band. It's like, okay, these bastards are going to do what they're going to do. What are we going to do? If this doesn't sell, they're gone. And after this release, they were gone off of Columbia because it really didn't sell. And there's a lot of confusion as to whether or not this is an actual Blue Oyster Cult album produced by Sandy Pearlman. But it's a straight rock album. It's a good rock album. I am the one you warned me of, starting off the album. Just really good, in my opinion, kick-ass rock. And as I go through my notes here, other songs of note, Lay Invisible, In the Presence of Another World, uh, Del Rio's song, like Astronomy, another version of Astronomy is on this side too. Ends off with Imaginos. And yeah, you couldn't have a more cheesier chorus than what's on the track Imaginos. I'm sorry. It's like it is what it is. But yeah, it's my number 11. And to try and explain what Imaginos was all about, no, I won't do it. I can't even begin. To, I mean, even with that cover, like from the, Universal horror movies, you know, catalog, it looks like Bela Lugosi should be coming out of that bloody house on the Cape there. You know what I mean? It's just it's a good rock album, but that's really about it for me with this release. But that's my number 11, Imaginos.
Yeah, that's another contentious one in the catalog. I'll just leave that there for the moment. I will say though that John Rogers was the guest vocalist who sang the title track, that cheesy bit that you were talking about, the same guy that co-wrote "Still Burning" that we just talked about a few minutes ago from Heaven Forbid, and who was the bass player for the band at different points in the
Hmm.
90s, basically.
Yeah.
All right. When I initially did this, I thought there was no way in hell that I would rank one of the classic eight originals with the full band out of the top eight.
Okay.
I changed my mind this morning
Oh
listening.
Lord.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's one of the ones behind me. Some people call it errors, but it's mirrors. And there's my, nice price collector's choice CD copy. I originally had it on cassette, but this, now that's not meant to be any kind of hate on this album because this again is one of those albums that has one of my top 10 Blue Oyster Cult songs, The Vigil, which is another Donald song, originally co-written with a Patti Smith lyric, and the song was called Devil's Nail, and it was quite, shall we say, controversial lyrically. So Sandy Roser, Donald's wife, came up with a lyric about aliens, which was much more fitting and much more public friendly, shall we
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
And it became a classic. This song also has the first of Eric's Michael Moorcock co-writing trilogy,
yeah. Michael
several of
Moorcock,
which also have John Trivers co-writing. Yeah,
yeah,
Michael
Mike,
Moorcock.
the science fiction writer. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
this was the Great Sun Jester, which I like quite a bit, and it has in the uh, one of Al Lanier's only 7 writing credits throughout the band's catalog. And it was one of those 4 songs I mentioned earlier that actually made the US top 100 singles chart at 74. And it was sung by Donald, of course, because he has that smooth commercial voice.
yeah,
Um, but really, the thing that hurts this album, even though I do dig the whole thing overall as a fan, it's again an absence of Albert. Tom Werman was foisted on the band. This is their first one that they basically brought an outside producer outside of their original cabal there with Sandy Pearlman and just David Lucas. And Tom Werman was going for a more commercial pop sound.
yeah.
And frankly, I think he took the balls out of their sound. The sound here is akin to uh, what happened to Rush on Presto and Roll the Bones with Rupert
Oh,
Hine.
okay. Okay.
It's thin. The Vigil is a great song, but frankly, I would love to see a redone version of this with a
Yeah,
beefier production.
yeah, yeah.
But this album is what it is. That's its identity, so I accept it. But it does rank lower in the catalog, partially for that, but mostly because Tom Werman and Albert Bouchard did not seem to get along. So there is only one Albert credit on here and one Albert lead vocal, and that's a joke song. You're not the one I was looking for. Now, I'm not
Okay.
going to crap on this song because I like it. It's a fun poppy song.
Hmm.
Uh, a lyric written by Albert's wife at the time, Karen. But the thing
Hmm.
is, Albert was horrified that they chose to include it because he initially recorded it as kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Go listen to the Cars, just what I needed, and then listen to You're Not the One I Was Looking
That's what
For.
I was thinking when I heard them. Like,
And he deliberately did that. That's why he was horrified that they put it on. He's like, it's the same song. What do you? Yeah. So the fact that that joke Cars tribute was the only Albert song on the whole album.
I would get
Yeah.
pissed off. Yeah,
So
I would.
and to be clear, Albert is my favorite Blue Oyster Cult member. Period. I think he's the most vital member. Even though Donald had the hits, Albert was the heart and soul of this band.
Like, how
So
can I put this to you? Well, no, thank you for your choice. I mean, it's a good album. But it's funny for me, and Bob Geldof said this about Pink Floyd. Blue Oyster Cult for me, you couldn't really put a face to the name, who in the band, like when you think of the name Blue Oyster Cult, what face, what record, like what name is synonymous with the band kind of thing, or what face, Eric Bloom or Buck Dharma, or, Roger or Albert Bushard. You can't really put a face to the name of the band kind of thing. Geldof said that about Pink Floyd. I think that about Blue Oyster Cult for some reason. If that
I
makes
think
any
you're right.
sense. You know,
Yeah,
and yeah, and I mean with their identity, it's got to be said. Sandy Pearlman was basically looked at as a Svengali, right? He came up with the idea for the band. Really didn't like the name Blue Oyster Cult, but they stuck with it. He came up with everyone having a stage name, and the only stage name that stuck with was Buck Dharma. Everyone else is like, oh, that's too fucking corny. You know, even the fact that he wanted to present them as biker, you know, a biker gang writing music, rock music. They didn't like the idea, but they went with it. But they quickly got away from that. So there was all these different ideas coming up for the band that they really didn't want. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, but that's a good choice. Mirrors is a good album. There is that pop sensibility to it, though. That album overall.
I'll tell you, as far as them being faceless and nameless to the general public, I absolutely agree with you. Obviously, I can picture them quickly because I've been a fan for so long, but
Yeah,
I'll go back to the most god awful Saturday night skit that I hate so much. You know the one. It's possibly one of their most famous skits ever. That
more
damn
cowbell,
cowbell skit with Christopher Walken. I
more
can't tell
cowbell.
you my conflicting emotions when they did that. It was cool having them referenced at all, but the fact that they went that far, but then they absolutely screwed up by misnaming the band members. And why in the hell did they give Christopher Walken the name Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden's singer, as the producer character? I mean, would it have been less funny if they'd actually been accurate and called these guys by their names? So that thing just irritates me to no end years later. So every time
Yeah,
somebody brings that up, I just cringe.
yeah, and yeah, I saw that skit, and I don't know if I think it was Eric Bloom who said he appreciates the fact that the name, you know, it was their name was mentioned again, and it was brought up. Oh, don't fear the Reaper. It was brought up again, but he hates the fact that they lampooned it so much about the cowbell and about the song overall that it's a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
right?
Now, Albert himself, his vlog is called Most Cowbell. So obviously, it's been good for him to, you know,
Yeah,
he's been able to reference that and raise his profile up a little bit. So I
yeah,
mean, good for them if they're getting something out of it. But to me, as a fan, nope, that comes on, I'm changing. I'm
no,
out of there.
I get that. I
But
get that.
again, that goes back to that faceless thing you were talking about. It
Yeah,
didn't matter to the general public because nobody knows who they are or what they're supposed to look like, what
yeah,
their names are, who the producer was, none of that. So that was
yeah,
the whole point of my tirade there, going
yeah.
back
No,
to
no, no. You're right. And to me, they were a band that just wanted the music to speak for itself. They didn't want the gimmicks. They didn't want the biker gang image. They didn't want the, oh, we're badass. Don't fuck with us. Or we'll fuck you up. This isn't Eddie Murphy skit. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a comedian. This isn't Delirious from Eddie Murphy. Okay, but no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying 100%. But we must carry on, ladies and gentlemen. My number 10, and coming to the almost to the end of part one of Fearing the Reaper, ranking the albums. Number 10, called Classic, from 1994. Just a re-recording of their basically of their well-known, best-known tracks and greatest hits. It's okay. I like the fact that the sound is better. Don't Fear the Reaper starts off the album, big surprise, the biggest hit. I like that the sound is cleaner. Again, it's a re-recording of it. It's not that they remastered it or whatever. But yeah, I it's at number 10 because I think it deserves a mention. Other songs of note are ETI, extra terrestrial intelligence, ME 262, This Ain't the Summer of Love, lead off track from Agents of Fortune, Burning for You, OD'd on Life Itself, you know, Flaming Telepaths, and Godzilla. I mean, all good tracks. And Godzilla on the original is a heavy track for me on Spectres. I think maybe the reason why they did this re-recording was that, but they were just trying to recapture basically who they were as a band, just try and maybe set the record straight a little bit. Maybe they weren't happy with some of the recordings of the earlier albums, and they wanted to sort of right the wrong, as it were, you know, musically. I applaud them for their effort, which is why it's at number 10. But would it be an album I go back to? No. It is what it is. It's a nice greatest hits package, you know. But that's my number 10. Called Classic, 94.
I haven't gone back to it in probably 30 years or more, but because I don't think the originals were needing to be corrected. So there is that.
Okay, line in the sand. All right. Cross that line, damn it. Go ahead. Okay.
All
Uh
right, here's my last pick for part one here. Yeah, you mentioned it recently. Here's another one of my nice price CDs. It's Imaginos. Obviously, I'm a fan of this material. I mean, I just showed you my three-part Albert Bouchard remake and expansion of the entire story. Uh, when I was a newer Blue Oyster Cult fan, this was the second new album that came out. And at the time, I got these on cassette, so the credits were kind of sketchy. The record company was doing some shady stuff, and they were kind of making it look like the original band had got together and there were guest musicians. No, that's not what happened. Albert and Sandy Pearlman had been working on this for years since Albert got kicked out of the band. This was Albert's album.
okay,
Sandy
yeah.
and the
I
record
get it.
company essentially conspired to steal it from Albert and turn it into a Blue Oyster Cult album, adding some Buck Dharma guitar and some vocals from him and Eric. Um,
Yeah.
Joe Bouchard is credited in there, but he says that he doesn't know if he's even on it. If he is, it might be a couple little quick keyboard bits at best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a contentious album. It's both the most Blue Oyster Cult album ever and the least because it's not really a Blue Oyster Cult album, despite that name on the cover. This is Albert's stolen baby. So at the time, I had no idea of any of this history, though. So at the time, I was just looking at this as here's this band I'm really getting into. This thing is cool. This thing rocks. I like it. I didn't care that John Rogers sang Imaginos or that Joey Serrazano sang Siege and Investiture of Baron von Frankenstein's Castle at Wyceria. Woo! How's that for a catch your breath after the song title?
What
And
Bill
that's a heavy
said,
bastard.
what
Uh,
Bill said, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
the the story. Albert has corrected what he thinks the initial order should be. The first of his three volumes on this were they featured the 9 songs in this album plus three more. Everything on the other 2 volumes is other stuff.
Yeah.
So this is not necessarily the intended order by Albert or Sandy
No.
with this story, and it's missing big pieces. But someone once suggested, and I thought it was pretty cool, that considering this is a time travel story about this character who fits into this Imaginos character is a being who fits into different time periods and affects world events. So, and they talk about random access memory. So if you can put this on shuffle and it plays just as well as far as the story, because you can picture Imaginos traveling back and forth through
Yeah.
time, bouncing
Yeah.
around to different events. But I really still to this day love this album, even though it has such a complicated backstory. And if you're into this at all, it's well worth digging in and finding
Yeah.
out all the details. It's a lot of fun if you're a fan. Um, Blue Oyster Cult, their band name song here is actually a remake of Subhuman from Secret Treaties.
Okay.
And this version is quite different, but I like it a lot. I love the opening keyboard sound to it and everything. Yeah, this is a very late 80s sound on this album.
Yeah.
And yeah, the players on this album, uh, we have a whole lot of people who are not actual Blue Oyster Cult members for obvious reasons. As I said, you got Kenny Harrison on bass, Tommy Price drums, you got Jack Secret, Jack Rigg, Tommy Morangello, Tommy Zvonchek. Um, there's a whole lot of players on here, which is
It,
why it doesn't necessarily sound like
yeah.
Blue Oyster Cult. Um,
Is Joe Satriani not on there as well?
he's not listed.
Oh, okay, no, I'm thinking of another
Oh,
album.
wait,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad. And Aldo Nova's there too. And yeah, Robbie Krieger, Mark Biederman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's so many. It's
I,
hard even for a hardcore fan to keep track of some of the stuff with this band because it's so convoluted sometimes.
I think with Imaginos, and you know what? That is a good horror movie album cover.
Absolutely.
You look at that, you think of Bela Lugosi, you think of Universal, the horror movies of the 30s and 40s. You think of Dark Shadows, the soap opera from from the 60s, which I do have, by the way, the box set. But I think with Imaginos, I think Columbia took it over as a means to get money out of the contract, number one, to get some money back that they invested in the band that they think that they were owed, number one. They basically would have probably just re-sequence the album to give it more of a to make it more of a hit factor for the market. You know what I mean? Like make an album that will appeal to the rock fans so we can get some money out of these sons of bitches. You know what I
Oh,
mean? In terms of the money that we invested into them. And it's unfortunate that they did that to Albert Bouchard. It's unfortunate that Sandy Pearlman went along with it.
yeah. Albert has forgiven him because he dedicated the trilogy albums where he expanded upon this to Sandy,
Yeah,
who has passed on, of course, a few years back.
yeah. And I've looked up trying to find the Ray Imaginos and the other two albums in the trilogy. Go on
Don't expect
Discogs.
them to sound like this
No, okay.
at
But
all.
go if you're looking for them, go on eBay, go on Discogs, or even here's a novel idea: visit your local record store.
Good luck. I mean, that's a
Maybe,
I
maybe,
love my record stores, but good luck finding them there,
yeah.
honestly.
Go on Discogs or eBay, you'll find them. But yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Finishing off my number nine and finishing off, sorry, part one of Fearing the Reaper, ranking the albums of Blue Oyster Cult. My number nine is The Revolution by Night from 1983. Yeah, the lead off single for me, pretty much you got like a one, two, three punch. You've got Take Me Away, co-written by Aldo Nova, Fantasy, and from 81, 82, Eyes on Fire, and Shooting Shark, featuring Carla DeVito on backing vocals on that track. Good album. Veins is another good track. Shadow of California is another good one. Again, Feel the Thunder, Let Go. Okay. Yeah, Let Go of the track, actually. Dragon Lady and Light Years of Love. It's a good rock album, and that's what I would say about all of these albums. To me, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. When I was looking up these albums online to like get the information and just listen to the albums and stuff, um, they were listed as a heavy metal band. No, they are a hard rock band with at times pop sensibility. And when they get their collective Jesus together, when they're all in the same mind frame and mindset of what they want to present to you, they can kick ass like no one's fucking business. And they can. Okay? But when you get all these outside influences coming in like Sandy Pearlman, oh, let's present you like this, let's do this and this, let's give you fake names. When you do all that kind of stuff, it gets diluted. It dilutes everything and waters down everything that the band themselves want to present to the public. Okay? This is a good album. Did it hit? No. Should it have? Yes. But by 1983, they were basically a pimple on the butt of the record company, and they were trying to sort of they were limping along, I think, at this point. It's a good album. I think it needs to be listened to more and given more credit for what it is. It's a good rock album. Melodic rock is what Blue Oyster Cult were. Was it going to sell? Maybe not. Is it good? Hell yeah. Number nine, The Revolution by Night, 1983. Anything more to add?
I think it's a good thing we're splitting this episode into two because otherwise people would have fallen asleep by now. We're so long winded, especially me.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
no, this is fun. So yeah,
Now, see, Bill and I, we don't do this that often, so we need help actually. But we enjoy what we're doing, and we enjoy bringing these episodes to you. And we get along, damn it. So that's why we're doing it. I want to thank you for joining us for part one of Fear and the Reaper, ranking the albums of Blue Oyster Cult. We've gone through albums 15 through 9. Join us for albums 8 through 1 coming up in part 2 of Fear and the Reaper, ranking the albums. And click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell again and keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. We are now on X, so join us on X and join in the conversation and give us your ranking for Blue Oyster Cult. Again, I will admit, I have known of the band for since '81, okay, and always, have known of the band over the years, but not really dived into them as I have for this episode. They're a good band. It's a lot to get used to, and again, if I'm wrong, you're probably going to correct me in the comments below. Put your comments below. Let us know your ranking of these albums, and we'll be back with part 2 of Fear and the Reaper, ranking albums of Blue Oyster Cult. Look after yourselves and one another. I'm Armando Venditti for Bill Schuster signing off. Have a great day. Bye for now.